It's like, no, I'll do it. Good morning, everybody. It's Cockadoodle Do and Rooster and you. It's the Morning Mouth version Wednesday edition. Where we do this Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on AMG Broadcasting. We're highlighting small business owners, nonprofits, and performing artists. We're probably all of the above, aren't we, ladies? So right behind me, we have three lovely ladies. I'm getting in the way of myself. And we're going to go in here. We're live from Freakin Antiquin, which is a really clever name for an antique store. It's in Springfield, Missouri on East Bennett. So what I'm going to do is introduce you. If you'll step up this way, it is Melissa. Are you what do you call yourself, the owner?
Sure.
Okay, you're in charge of this place.
Yes, the circus.
Let's get this
Circus,
right.
There you go. There you go.
The other way, the other way.
Go back.
There we go.
There you go. So, Melissa, did you grow up in Springfield?
Republic.
And then what gave you the concept for this idea?
I had gone through a divorce, and I had a friend, and we went junking every weekend for something to do. And when you start buying junk, you start accumulating junk, and you have too much junk. So we opened booths, and then several years later, opened a store.
You admitted you're selling junk here.
I'm selling junk.
But, you know, one man's trash is another man's treasure, as the saying goes. But what is this really about? What is the fascination with things that are way out of date currently?
Okay.
Vintage. What is the fascination?
You know, for most people that come in, it's probably about memories. Grandmother had it, mom had it, so, you know, it's about things you remember. That's what we hear most when we hear people walking through the store.
Okay.
It's, oh, we had this, or so a lot of people are just looking.
Nostalgia.
Exactly. Yep. And collectors. I'm a collector.
Oh, so you...
I'm not a hoarder. I'm a collector.
Carol is my co-host today. Carol, you mentioned yesterday that perhaps there's even a group that will come from another area.
Yes, from other states.
And then they find some items and they resell them. So they really think this is the great venue for that. This is a unique find for them.
Right. Oh, we think so. We love the store.
Yeah, so this has some distinction.
Yeah.
Now, we live up the road from Ozark, which is kind of known for a lot of antique shops.
Right.
Are there such things as run-of-the-mill, or is everything pretty unique?
No, I think every store is unique. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I didn't know if there was like a standard for, okay, is an antique before 1980, or is it something else?
Well, technically, there's a difference between antiques and vintage.
Okay.
And then there's different theories on that, and I'm sure someone will correct me. I view an antique as 100 years old.
Well, I won't correct you.
Okay.
If you say it, I believe you.
Well, somebody else out there will.
Well, an antique being 100 years old makes me not an antique.
Right. Does I feel better? Right.
Okay.
Vintage is varying degrees of that. In our store, I view vintage as anything pre-1980.
I identify as a vintage
So you're
person.
vintage.
We're
all vintage. Yeah.
If I'm identifying, it's because I was born before 1980.
Probably because I was raised, my teenage years were in the 80s, and so when I see that stuff, I don't really usually care for it. But that's
sometimes.
So, right.
But you're saying, okay, the 1980s doesn't have the value.
Some of it does.
Vintage
no,
market
some does.
yet.
Some does.
Some does.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're 20 years old, you probably like the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
Well, then, okay. So how do people in the market, how do the consumers decide this is now really interesting? It's vintage instead of just old junk.
I think it just goes back to memory.
Perspective.
Yes,
Perspective.
right.
I would say a lot of people's memories are not going to be of 100 years ago. So why is that antique something special?
Well, but their memory might not be of 100 years ago, but their grandparents and great-grandparents who handed items down that then someone my age, my grandparents had things that were more than 100 years old. Yeah. They were farmers. They reused everything.
Well,
So
we're going to do a little introduction there then. Okay, the first one next to me, that is Melissa. What is
Hi.
your last name?
Sharpless.
Sharpless is she's the owner of Freakin Antiquin on East Bennett. It's east of the Craft factory. I don't know how else to say it. It's
The Elks Lodge is right next door.
And it's between Highway 65 and Glenstone.
Yeah.
I guess you could say.
Yeah, right at Marlin. We looked right out our window at Marlin, so we're at Bennett and Marlin. We're just west of Enterprise, where Enterprise cuts through between Sunshine and Bennett.
And how many booths are there, or is that how you
80
say?
plus.
80
So
plus.
we're in the small show, what I call maybe the front or the showroom area, and then we're going to walk back to the big room here.
So we'll be looking through the place, and then next to her is Carol Throckmorton. She's the co-host today. Carol, what is your connection to this market?
I am also a vendor here, a relatively new vendor, but like Melissa, I've kind of the same thing. I've been doing this personally for a long time, collecting. I love the connection to the past. To me, that's what gives you roots, and the stories that go behind some of these things. Every time I pick up a piece, I wonder about the people that had it originally and what their family was like. And I have a friend that has a booth in here, and she said it would be interesting to take a piece and see what it cost when it was bought brand new, and then trace it down to how many times it's been bought and sold over the years and how much money has been generated, income that's been generated through that one particular item. So a lot of really cool things. I will give my own personal story. As I was looking to get things in my booth when I was growing up, we always had, I'm from the South, we always had, it was a little tin that sat by our stove that had the word grease on it. And if you cooked with bacon, you put your bacon grease in there and it stayed there, and then you use that bacon grease to cook something else.
And I was thinking grease is the word.
Don't make me go there.
Different meaning.
Yes.
Right,
But I found one of those that looked exactly like the one that I grew up with in my house, and in a flea market in an antique store, and bought it, and now it's sitting by my stove. So.
I think Carol is 49 years old or 48, and that's as far as I'm
You look so good.
That's safe.
You look great.
You look great.
I'm always saying you remind me of Cheryl Teagues and Cheryl Ladd.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
thank
You
you.
look like a Cheryl.
Yeah, she's my younger sister. We just don't talk about
That's
that.
But that's already dating me if you know who those people are. Then
Yes,
you're probably
yes.
not the ages I said.
No.
Insults come after the
But I like it. I like
flattery
it.
and then an insult.
There you go.
You
Right.
got the Rooster.
That's right.
My wife, Mrs. Rooster, is Andrea. She is. You love antiques, sort of, but
I like
you like something
I
specific.
like the older era, not necessarily pre 1980, but I love the 1980s music.
Oh, sure.
But, I mean,
of
are there
course.
items that you think are interesting?
Yes, because like they said, I remember things from my grandmother that I remember seeing in her house that just remind me of her and bring those memories. I don't have a lot of antiques in my house, but I'm here because I want to come along with you.
Well, I'm not that enthralled by going to antique stores, but some people really get into it, and they really, it's their thing.
We have customers who come in multiple times a week.
Yes.
I don't understand that. Is there something new to find?
Yes.
Is it because
Every
they
day.
can't see everything, or is it
Every day.
because there's
No,
new
we have
things coming
dealers
in?
come in every day.
Oh, so you get new merchandise in the door.
every day.
Yeah, like any other booth place, they refresh them.
Yeah.
At least once a
And move
week.
things around
Right,
in
yeah.
your booth, so you see things that you didn't see when you're in
Right.
before.
Well, I'm
I've seen
not
that before.
the connoisseur of these things, but I will appreciate being able to take this tour with you, and we'll do
I
that.
bet you find something that you like.
Yes.
We have
You might.
about
If you
one.
like.
Yeah.
We have about 1 minute, and we take a 20-second commercial break
Okay.
3 times during the show. So 20, 20, and 20. It's a whole whopping minute off of our time. I produce commercials, so just so you know,
Okay.
Melissa, we have a way to highlight you if
Okay.
you want to be involved.
Okay.
One way is to donate $100 to the Axe Media Group, which is a nonprofit.
Okay.
And with that donation, we talk about your business for a whole week
Oh, okay.
on all of our shows.
Sure.
There's 3 shows a day,
Uh-huh.
and that's 15 times mentioned.
3 shows a week.
15 shows a week, yes,
Okay.
and then 3 a day, 8 a.m., 9 a.m., and 10.
Oh, you do 3 a day.
And I
Oh,
do
wow.
3 a week,
Okay.
but they do 15 a week.
Because there's other
I
hosts.
see.
There's other
Okay.
hosts.
Gotcha.
Ready when you are. I'm ready. Let's take a break.
Acid. Acid. Relief.
Okay.
Anyway,
Okay.
all right, we're back, and we're just
All right,
talking to Melissa. We have Carol as well, and she is not Carol as well. That's not her name. Carol is the co-host, and then Andrea, Mrs. Rooster. So with the four of us are going to take a little tour through what they know as Freakin Antiquin, which is an antique store, as you may have guessed. There's a lot of things coming in the door every day,
Yes.
and about 80 or more vendors. And some of them are less active than others.
Correct.
Because
Sure.
that's human nature.
Sure,
But
absolutely.
if you park your items in this building, it's got to be pre-1980, or are there rules about that?
75% of your booth has to be pre-1980.
So you have to be good at math. You got to know that 3/4. Yeah. So if it's not
I can look at a booth and tell you if it's 75%.
Yes.
you know.
Okay.
And then also, what is the story behind that? Is that because
There are
You
home
don't wanna
decor
cheat.
items, right? Well, there are home decor items that are complementary to antiques.
okay?
So, like, I don't want Beanie Babies. I don't want a lot of clothing. If they have clothing,
What
it
are
needs
some
to be.
things that are more current that are complementary? Can we go look at some
Sure,
examples?
absolutely.
Let's just do
Well, and
that.
this is a really prime example. For instance, I had a couple of vendors who opened when I did. They took a chance on our store. So this is a prime example. They are not 75%, but I grandfathered them in.
Because what was the uniqueness here?
Well, just look. So, for instance, this would be considered vintage.
Okay.
This is probably a reproduction. I'm sure it's not vintage.
Okay.
This is obviously not vintage.
But
However, complementary.
Okay.
When just in your home decor.
Yeah. I get
And
it.
John, just to let you know, this is called a vignette.
Vignette. Okay.
Well,
Which is the display.
Yeah.
The display, the
the-
marketing, the display of what you've got. Yeah, there's little vignettes everywhere.
Everywhere. Yeah. Yep.
So if you're just tuning in, this is Johnny Rooster Morning Mouth. I've not been abducted by aliens or antiquers, but it is interesting. We're at Freakin Antiquin on East Bennett in Springfield, Missouri. If you have traveled to Springfield, you'll want to come by here. It's open Monday.
We're only closed Monday.
Okay,
so
so
we're
open
open
Tuesday through Saturday
Sunday.
or Tuesday through Sunday. Okay, so just closed on Monday. If I did that and I talked into that mic, it would have blown their earbuds.
Right.
Okay, so I have an idea that you can come in here as a customer and see something new every time you come in.
Correct.
So,
Yep.
all right, most of
We
this.
also have classes. So we do crafting classes, and 2 of them are hanging on those doors over there.
Okay.
See that barn quilt?
Uh-huh.
That
Oh,
quilt,
that's
that is
cool.
what we call a barn quilt.
Mhm.
And so that class is this Saturday. And so we just offer, because it's a lot of fun for ladies to get together and do crafting classes. And the other one is called rug hooking, which is a very primitive concept made out of wool. And so we have those kind of classes. We have some others coming up too. So
All right. Lead on.
okay.
Going through this store here, it's a place where there's more than 80 vendors are set up in different booths.
You
Vignettes.
can even shop the bathrooms.
That's
Really?
right. Oh my
goodness.
So it's not like you're hiding merchandise.
Men's and women's are decorated.
So they're decorated with items
Yes,
for
they
sale.
are for sale.
Uh-huh.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
so it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
But,
Are your commodes pre-1980? Could
no,
be.
they probably
Probably are,
yeah.
You think about it, and probably
Yeah, they probably are.
they're at least in the right
I know
team.
this building was built in the 60s.
At least they're complimentary.
They-
Yes, they're complimentary. Yes.
I'm getting it. I
Yes.
get it.
Yeah.
So you can see this is a rather large building with a lot of variety. They're
So,
not
like-
officially
like this would
open
be-
yet.
Right. This is what we would call a mid-century item. So, mid-century is, oh gosh, I really don't know the years, but mid-century modern is very popular right
The
now.
50s, 60s,
Clean
70s.
line,
60s.
50s, 60s, yeah.
60s early.
Yeah,
70s.
maybe even into the 40s, but
Okay.
no, Art Deco would be earlier than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's 30s.
So,
Okay.
and you can tell that some vendors kind of have a theme to their booth, and hers is maybe a little farmhousey, and that's very popular right now.
Mr. Rabbit in the corner.
and then we make a little sweet. We have all of our aisles are named. So this is Rusty Drive, and this is Rusty Circle.
Was that specific to somebody's name?
No, it was
Just because
yeah,
Rusty.
no, you'll kind of see.
Antiquin.
Don't trip over the chair there. So this gentleman has primitive tools. And,
Do you assign the floor plan here? Is that how you kind of map out who goes where?
Right. Yep. So And this is a mother-daughter team. They share. It's mother-daughter. They have a great time doing this. They get to spend a lot of time together, painting and refurbishing things.
It's a little distracting for the audience to not see things close, so I'm going to
That's fine. Sure.
give them something.
Sure. Yeah.
If there's an item you find interesting, I'll go in
Okay.
close.
Okay. All right.
So I'm not really
There's
able,
lots of,
not
there's
able
lots
to
of items I'm going
yeah.
to.
If there's something that would catch the eye, let me know.
And lots of repurposing, as you can see.
Right.
A lot of these items,
Right.
you know, those are fan blades, and
Oh,
this is
so here we're looking at fan blades
Fan blades.
repurposed for a,
Ceiling fan blades.
Yes.
here's a drawer
Uh-huh.
that's been turned upside down and painted and used as a
right
shelf.
here,
Right.
you're looking at that.
So lots of repurposing in here too. So those are vintage, but they've been repurposed.
Great.
So yeah.
We're going to keep track of the time. If somebody can help me on 9:20 is when I need to do my
Okay,
another.
you've got 5 minutes back.
Doing great. Thank you.
The old bingo cards.
The old bingo
yeah.
cards.
Yeah.
My grandma used to play with those.
Yeah, those are fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Trying to get
Bingo.
Well, and those are just, they're interesting. So I always talk about, when I talk about vignettes and building a display in your home or here, obviously, you know, you need to have what I call your hardscape. So you're going to have your wood items, your glass items, metal, but then you need to have fabric, books for paper or other kind of paper products, doilies, aprons. Those all soften, and then like your florals, greenery florals. So all of that together creates a good looking vignette because it just has all your different types of
You got a different
you
textures and
feel
elements and
textures,
feel.
Right. Mhm.
This is
Yes.
part of the vignette display.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm pulling back to show.
now that is an interest. I have to point to. I've never seen this.
Uh-huh.
This is an old light fixture that they
Right.
just turned upside
Right.
down, and it's a. You could put flowers in there. You could put a candle in there. That's just a little old light
Right.
fixture.
Right.
That's
You can put a
cool.
little tea light in there,
That's
battery
cool.
operated.
Yeah.
And
True.
sometimes people do that and then hang them outside on the patios.
Yeah.
Because you can put little solar lights down there, I think, and hang some
absolutely.
trees.
That's
My
a great
grandpa
idea.
used to say, do you have Prince Albert in a can? And yes, well, let him out.
Yeah.
The vintage humor. What are your hours of operation?
We are open Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 5:30, and Sunday, noon to 5.
Okay. To be a vendor, do they have specific, they just contact you?
Uh-huh.
Do you have booth space available, or is it a waiting?
Yeah, it's a waiting. I mean, I look like I have some available, but only because I have a few that are actually rented. They just haven't moved in. And then I'm allowing some space because we have a event coming up, our ladies' night out, our summer social that's coming up July 23rd.
Okay.
And I need some extra space for that because we're going to have make and take crafts, which are free for them. It's a ticketed event, so they'll have their food and all of that. But I have to save some space for things like that I've got for that evening.
Okay, but you do have a waiting list for a regular vendor.
I do.
Are they committing to a certain amount of time?
No, if it doesn't work for them, it's not going to work for us. But you know, we like for somebody to try it 6 months.
6 months would be a minimal trial.
But they're not committed to
But
that.
they don't have
Things
to.
happen. Life happens.
But setting it up, you wouldn't want to just pull it out a
Right.
few months later.
Right.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
And it
It's a lot
takes
of work.
you 3 or 4 months to really get the feel of it, especially if you haven't done it before, if you're new
Yes.
to it.
All right, boys and girls, we're here live at Freakin Antiquin on East Bennett. What do you got there? Glenn Miller?
Miller. I was thinking
Yeah.
Glenn Campbell,
For you,
but Glenn,
Glenn Miller.
why not?
Were you thinking
My
Glenn
uncle
Campbell?
is actually
I
named
love
Glenn
Glenn
Miller,
Campbell.
and
Okay,
it's
Glenn
spelled
Miller.
this way. Yes.
Yeah.
The two
I have an
ends?
uncle
That was
named
my
Glenn
grandpa's
Miller.
spelling too. I think they liked extra ends back in the day.
You're
We're going to
right.
be right back with no extra ends right after this. We're back in 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're back, and this is Johnny Rooster. You're watching Morning Mouth. We do this every Monday, Wednesday, Friday and sometimes on location. And today is one of those days. It's on location at Freakin Antiquin, East Bennett Street in Springfield, Missouri, east of the Craft Factory and just past the Elks Lodge. Freakin Antiquin has more than 80 vendors, and they're all set up in what they call vignettes. And with me today is Carol Throckmorton. She's going to show us her vignette and what it's about. So, Carol, I'm going to get this kind of around this way so we can see you.
Sure. Well, this is my booth, and like I said, I'm kind of a new vendor, so I'm still trying to get it figured out. Placement and all of the things that you want to have.
Don't be judging all.
Don't judge me. Don't judge. Yeah. But as you can see, there's lots of different items here. A lot of the vendors know the backstories behind what's collectible and what's not. I have some men things. You were asking about men things. I even have cigars. Did you see this? I have cigars.
I'm going to go close in on some things as you're talking.
Yes. So as you can see, we've got a whole ship thing going here with the story of Christopher Columbus and our little guy and the, that kind of stuff. The collectibles are the ducks. They are, some of those are very, very collectible. These are selling right now on eBay for about $85. That's not what they're selling for here. So if people want to look for collectible items like that, they can. You'll find some really cool old vintage books, tools. This one was really interesting to me. This is a book that shows you, it teaches mathematics on how you do woodworking. And there's actually problems and different things like that. And this is a vintage book. There's another one on pipe. This is doing kind of the same thing. It gives you everything that you've got there. These are back from, I believe, the 30s. That one was 1939. So really a lot of interesting things. But like I said, the vendors, if they're here, and a lot of times there are people walking around to help people that are shopping, to ask questions or to say, hey, have you seen this in here? Because this is a lot to take in. It really is.
Did you come across these on your own for this purpose, or were they part of your family collection? How do you get things for your...
I have been collecting for a very long time. Some of the things I've had for a very long time. And like Melissa said, you kind of have to pare down things after a while.
Is your husband relieved that you're trying to clear out?
Yes, he is. Yes, except for then you go shopping to buy more. Now where are you going to store it till you can put it in? And that's something I would like somebody to come and buy all of this, because my garage, we can't even get the other cart in right now because there's so much stuff that needs to come over here.
Are these items found at garage sales, at other vintage stores,
all
or somewhere
over the place? All over the. Now, my husband collects Pepsi memorabilia, which is very difficult to find. And so a lot of this came from his collection. He's paring down. Looks like one is gone already. There was a whole bunch of little Pepsi cars up here
yesterday.
Yeah. So
they are selling those kind of Pepsi items.
The Pepsi is very collectible. You see lots of Coke stuff. You don't see lots of Pepsi.
Pepsi's less. It's harder to find.
Yes. And he's got more that needs to come in. And he's pretty... Yeah, there's another little one down there. He's pretty specific on what he collects with Pepsi. So, yeah, a lot of things. We have things like depression glass, which is over here. And, shoot, I should have brought my I have my flashlight in my purse. There's a little black light flashlight that you can take around. And the depression glass, what this is also called uranium glass. Okay. And the reason why is because it has uranium in it. And so if you want to know if it's real, you have these little flashlights that you can carry around. And when you shine the black light on that, they glow. And that's how you know that it is a real piece of depression or uranium glass. Also, Vaseline glass, which is a little different, will also glow, but it glows specifically in a yellowish color. So lots of different things.
I think I found my soulmate.
There you go.
I thought that was me.
There you
Johnny
go.
Rooster.
Johnny Rooster.
We have lots of roosters in the store.
Yes,
They're very popular right now.
I'll be right at home. Look at that.
Yeah, there you go. And
Some
most
of your cousins are
over there, yeah.
So what else are you going to say?
Most all of the vendors actually have their own name. I am the Vintage Market. This one over right across the hall is Pansies 2. So everybody's got their own little vendor IDs.
And a lot of them have a specific look. Mm-hmm. So you will know she will always have this look. Kind of soft. She always has a lot of children's things, not play children's things, but things little figurines.
Dolls and
Yeah,
figurines.
she's she's got the birds.
Yeah.
So I always kind of refer to her as kind of a soft, romantic, but definitely vintage, and some antiques thrown in. But look at the little smalls, little toys.
Oh yeah.
Aren't those sweet?
Yeah.
Those are, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Little copper leg.
Yep.
And the
So-
candle soup.
Uh-huh. Right.
Remember those?
Right. Yep. Yeah. So she has a style. And then this person, she has a style. Hers is very primitive. Hers will always be primitive.
Yes.
Her booth is a little messy right now because she sold a lot. And she hasn't been in, she lives out of town. So, but we try and rework things a little bit as best we can. So you can see that our aisles are named. This one is Primitive Boulevard, so that actually is perfect for her. And over there is Vintage. And then we have next is Junk Street, and the first one is Shabby Lane. So
I think I grew up between junk and shabby.
I did too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did too.
Finally found my home.
We had lots of shabby too, and it wasn't popular.
So is junk and shabby popular? Because you've got.
It
I'm
is, yes.
Nowadays it is.
Yes,
trying to think how I can capitalize
Yeah,
on
and
my
then there's
past.
also-
There you go.
Then you take the both of them and you call it shabby chic.
There you go.
My parents had an amazing 1880s house that burned down 2 years ago. They lived there for 45 years. Unfortunately, most of their memories have gone.
Right.
But it is interesting to see the old things that are part of that generation.
Right. Well, that would have had amazing woodworking and
Yeah.
detailing. Right.
And the old cardboard pictures.
Lest I tell them they're junky and shabby, I wanted to say
It
that
is.
it was pretty
It's a
cool.
compliment.
Now it is. Finally makes sense 30
Right.
years later.
And this
Yeah.
booth over here, this is a mother-daughter team also, and they have a great style. And
Check this
again,
out, 20%
they-
off.
Yeah, that's right.
Don't want to miss
I like
that.
right? So
Clabber Girl, I remember that.
Yes.
Some of these are still in use, aren't they? Isn't Clabber Girl still a
oh,
thing?
sure, that
Yeah.
just happens to be an older can.
Yeah.
I remember playing car bingo
Yes,
with
I
my
know
brother
that.
in that car on our
Yeah.
trips from
Right.
our home in Pennsylvania to
Right.
Bar River, Maine.
And it's so interesting to me how vintage and antique items are trendy.
Mhm.
They are.
Yeah.
Like bingo cards are very popular right now.
Yeah, that
they
is
are.
true.
Right?
Yeah.
And croquet balls.
Yes.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
just kind of collectible. They look great in a basket or
Well, even like this right
right,
here. So,
right.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
The old-
Uh-huh. Yep.
And I love, that's another thing you can find is architectural salvage pieces. I
Yeah.
love these. I missed these doors the other day. I
And these are
love
great
those.
to hang up, and then inside the panels you
Yes.
can hang pictures
Yes.
and other things like that.
That's
So
true.
they're great decor.
Yeah, yeah.
It's interesting to me how things become popular and we don't know what those things will be in the time.
No. Just like the stock market.
So if you have something today,
Mhm.
let's pretend, in 30, 40, 50 years, what do you think today
Oh.
items would
Right.
be valuable? Just
Right.
guess with me, and then we could
Wow.
have
And then
this.
30,
is
40
on-
years from now,
This is on
we'll come
YouTube
back.
forever, and let's
Yeah.
find out. What do you
Um,
think, Carol, might be an item that's common today but will be valuable tomorrow?
Wow. Dishes are always one of those kind of things. The certain patterns that might come out or styles
People
of
won't
dishes.
be using dishes in a few years. I'm thinking nobody
Unfortunately, you're
even has a
probably right.
kitchen, but
You're probably
it's
right.
maybe coming back. But
Yeah.
I think they'll love the
Yeah.
dishes because they're unique.
One of the things that you can see out today, you've seen the old paper plates, the really flimsy paper plates that
Yeah.
have the little ridges
Yeah.
around them.
Mhm.
They've made those now, and they're not paper.
Right.
So you can get
Oh,
them that look like, I would
Uh-huh.
say that probably 30,
That
40
was
That
years
would be
from now.
interesting.
A flimsy, worthless item became a
That became-
different style
yes.
of.
They're plastic,
Yes.
but they're
Uh-huh.
really hard,
Oh,
nice
right.
plastic.
Right.
Because we all remember those.
Yes.
They stick four of them
Uh-huh.
together. You
Yes.
can't-
Yeah.
You just tear them
Exactly.
apart. It's
Yeah.
too thin for your
Uh-huh.
food.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So you didn't
Yeah,
save
your sloppy
money.
No, you
No,
didn't.
it was an awful.
Because you had to use
Yeah.
four.
It was a major fail. It's
Yeah.
like single ply
Yeah.
on your
So
toilet.
now I
Bad
wonder
idea.
if maybe
Right.
30 years from now.
So you think
Right.
these?
That's true.
What do you think in 30 years? I'm not going to let you off the hook. What do you
Oh.
think is common today that
Today.
might be interesting in the future?
Hmm.
Do you think that the Keurig coffee pot Where do you think that's
Gosh,
going?
it could
Ooh.
be.
Because
Maybe
you
the-
can see a lot of
maybe
old
the-
coffee pots in
Or
it.
maybe
True.
the pods.
I think
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
to do with
Yeah.
making
The pods.
coffee would
Coffee.
be.
Coffee is so right.
Mhm.
What do you
Right.
think of it's not necessarily naming Starbucks, but a brand or
A brand. Oh, I see.
something that might be
Right.
because
Collectible.
it's
So
coffee
you're right.
related.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Starbucks is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
You're
I
right.
think
Something
Starbucks,
like that.
the original
The
Starbucks.
Starbucks mugs even.
Mhm.
Hey guys,
Mhm.
if you've got
Yeah.
Starbucks stuff,
Stick in the
hang
box.
on. I'm thinking I've got
Yeah, you're right.
goosebumps. I'm thinking that's
You're
an
right.
epiphany.
You're absolutely
I'm
right.
thinking
Yeah.
maybe the iPhones and some of the other
I was
stuff.
thinking Apple something.
Because I missed your
Right,
message,
right.
if you sent me a message, Matt, it is time. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back.
Okay.
Don't forget, Axe Fest is coming up July 16th. That's going to be a great day. 15th, 16th, 17th. It's going to be a time of celebration, a time of learning. And Axe Fest means what? It means there's a competition, sandwich making, music competition, and non-music competition. So if you have a talent that you want to express, it's $10 to enter, and $50 and a plaque goes to the winner of each category. So this would be your time to shine, Carol, because we know you've got a lot of talent.
That's
So if you
right.
want to do,
Entertainer.
if you want to do a dance routine, you want to do something. So again, there's a music category, there's a non-music category, and each one is up to 6 minutes long. You can pre-record it, or you can do it live in-house or live on video. There's lots of ways to participate. Go to Axe Media Group. That's actsmediagroup.com, and you can donate your $10 and get in the on the list, and that'll be a $50 prize to the winner. We're also giving away $100 a week all summer long at AMG Broadcasting. The winner this past week was Larry Melton. There's a winner before that. There's sponsors every week. So all you got to do, if you're a vendor and you have a business, you just donate $100 on axmediagroup.com. Hit the donate button for $100, and then you will be mentioned all week long on your week for the advertising. So we're going to advertise with you and for you all week long on 15 different shows during the week. We want you to do that, and it's $100 that goes to one of our listeners. That would be fun. And all of you are eligible except those that are on staff. So, Carol, you're eligible.
Yay! All right.
Melissa, you're eligible to
Awesome.
win the $100. How do you win the $100? You watch AMG Broadcasting on YouTube or Axe Media Group on Facebook. Watch them live 8 a.m., 9 a.m., and 10 a.m. and click like and share during the show. That's what you got to do.
Okay.
Show your presence when we're doing the shows. Yes, people watch them after hours because that's normal. But during the morning when everybody's going to work, that's when you got to tune in to win. All right. So we're going on. We're going to finish our show here in about 7 more minutes. What else do we want to say to people that would be interested in this type of venue? We've speculated on what might be popular in the future. Now, what do you want to say about people today? What can they do?
Well, it's actually a great, just an hour. Come in for an hour. Bring a friend. We love hearing people walking through the aisles, talking, visiting,
Exclaiming,
sharing,
wow.
Yeah. I
laughing,
love those,
and that is so much fun. That really is. It
Come
does
on in
bring
here,
joy.
Carol.
It does
Come on in
bring
next
joy,
to it.
and it's a good way to connect with a friend or a family member, that type of a thing. So
We always want you uncomfortably close to the camera.
Okay. There we go.
Okay, now, so Carol is she's my co-host, but also she's a vendor here, and you have several things that you're continuing to collect.
Yes. Yes.
So
I've been collecting for a long time.
I want you to start looking for Starbucks stuff.
I will have to do that.
I'm not kidding.
I will have to do
The
that.
stuff that when they first opened, I think that's
Yeah,
so
already.
what do you collect?
Well, I have collected teapots, teacups, and the sandwich sets for
Right.
years. I
Okay.
have a ridiculous amount.
Sure. Okay.
And the reason why is because I actually host tea parties.
Okay.
And I have done that in nursing homes and churches where I take all of the stuff
Right.
and I do all of the food and I talk about why and how and all of that kind of
Did
stuff.
you have dolls attending your first tea parties when
I
you were a
did
kid?
not. I didn't really do tea
Never
parties
did
as a
that?
kid.
So you
No,
waited
no.
till you grew up and did them
Yes,
for real?
yes. Part of that was because I actually created a ministry in my church years ago that was called Teapot Ministries, and it was about serving.
Okay.
And so that's why it's
Oh,
really
sure.
special to me. I've got a couple of books that I've written and things like that.
Oh, Andrea, go ahead and stand between them right behind
Yeah,
you.
in fact,
Go right
I
there.
would like to say this to parents.
If you can see you, they can see you.
There you go.
I can't always see.
Get your kids involved. If anybody's watched the American Pickers, Mike, that's on there, he has written a book called Picking for Kids.
Huh.
And get your kids involved in starting to collect something and show them how they can turn this into income. Plus, really be something that they can latch on and hold on to for the rest of their lives, pass it down to their kids,
Right.
gives them something to do. But yeah, I would really encourage parents. We took our grandsons in, and this has been years ago, and we said, you've each got $10 to
Right.
spend. Now you can spend some of that on yourself, but you also
And he picks out vintage and antique things. It's not junky things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well,
Yep.
before we
Yep.
get out of here, I want to see the junk and what did you call it?
junk aisle.
The junk aisle. What was the name
The
of those
shabby and
streets?
the junk.
Shabby and
Junk
junk.
Street.
Junk.
It's right
Yeah,
here.
there's junk.
This
Going
is
that
Junk
way.
Street. Yep.
Watch your headphone. Keeps getting
My headphone. Oh, excuse me. Okay.
Yeah.
And then
And this vendor, his father-in-law, I think, makes the birdhouses. So I believe all of these birdhouses are handmade, and then they paint them, distress them down. So that's a lot of fun. That's something interesting and different.
And the furniture pieces that you see that look like display items, most of them are also for sale. If they're not, they'll be marked with a tag that says NFS.
Right.
And that's not for sale. Yeah.
Right.
But most of them
But
are.
finding a good display piece, I always say, is like gold.
Yes, yes.
and you know it when you see it.
Yes.
You know, once you have it in your booth and it works for you, that you may not want to sell it
Yes, absolutely.
because that's important to your
Because then
your
you'll need it
business.
for future display.
Right. Uh-huh. Yep.
Any other tips to setting up a vendor booth?
Kind of less is more in some ways.
Okay. You talked about different materials using
Right.
paper and
Right.
wood.
So
and
she's got a perfect example here. You know, she has the platters, which platters are very, very popular. She has the wood. So this is probably from a church pew, at the back of a church pew. And then she softened it with a doily. And so she has a good mix. She always has really sweet baby things. So people who collect baby things, I mean, look at this adorable little handkerchief, little boy in the toy train. Isn't that sweet?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, she always has really sweet things.
well, Melissa,
a lot of linens. And
you
things.
personally
So-
will definitely want to watch this show
Okay.
back.
Okay.
Go to AMG Broadcasting on YouTube.
I will.
Subscribe
I'll
to
share
that.
I'll
and
share it on our Facebook
that.
page.
So,
Yep.
and
Yep.
it'll say
Too.
Freakin' Antiquin
Right.
in the title and Johnny
Right.
Rooster.
And we do Facebook live events
Good.
where we have displays, vignettes. We talk about how to build displays in
Good.
your home and how those items can work. So like this Friday night is a Facebook Live, and then
Go
we
ahead and
have.
get in there every time you can, Carol.
And then
And Andrea.
July 23rd is this little event. It's a ladies' night out. It will have it's for $20. Is it $20? 22. It's 22. It's 25 at the door, but pre-sale is 22. And it will have your food. It'll be everything. Girls Night Out, your food, your drink, your desserts. We're going to have a make and take craft.
So they're creating a craft.
We'll have a photo booth with little props, which will be a lot of fun for you and your bestie to take pictures.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it'll be a really fun event, and it's a Friday evening, July 23rd.
And you get to shop.
And you get to shop, of course, of course. Yeah.
What's this
yeah,
message
yeah.
saying? Is they saying we're ready when you are? Okay, so we're going to sign off now. Is there anything you want to leave them with?
No, I appreciate our customers. Our customers have become our friends, and we really appreciate them. And we appreciate Carol for giving us this opportunity.
Thank you, Carol, for introducing
you.
us to Freakin' Antiquin, and thank you, Melissa, for being
you.
part of the show
Yeah, it was
today.
fun. It was a lot of fun.
Again, if you go to Axe Media Group on Facebook, you can watch that anytime, or you can go to YouTube at AMG Broadcasting. It'll say Freakin' Antiquin in the title. All right, folks, we're out of time. I will be back on Friday and somewhere else. You just keep watching. Until then, have a great day.
Thank you.